My name is Mikateko Nkuna-Valoyi. You can call me Mika, and I head up talent and culture within Vodacom South Africa. Code Like a Girl was inspired by maybe just to backtrack. Vodacom is a purpose-led organization, as you would know. Most of what we do here is driven by purpose, and one of those things is to drive digital inclusion across our society. So Code Like a Girl was inspired by that, our need to close the digital divide across our country. And basically we looked at, traditionally you would know that areas that are remote geographically are much more excluded from technology, advancements and all of that. And so the idea behind Code Like a Girl was to look for these rural areas where people like myself, I come from a rural area, would not predominantly see a computer on an ordinary day. And so we went out to search for those communities with a quest to gain or to give exposure to people at a very young age, so that they're able to learn about these ICT careers. They're able to understand that there's more there's more to it than just the traditional BCom, the likes of education, nursing, and all of that, which is what you will predominantly find in rural areas. And so that is how Code Like a Girl came about. It was meant to give people that are disadvantaged in a way exposure to equipment, the best technology that they wouldn't ordinarily have access to. And from that, we're hoping that the young people are able to just get a wider understanding of what careers are available within the technology space and where the youth, where the industry is moving as far as that is concerned. Code Like a Girl basically offers basic coding skills, big data, the likes of AI. And the idea is just to introduce people to those at a very, very basic level, majority of it being theoretical at an introductory stage. The boot camp generally runs for about a week max. If it is during school holidays, we'll obviously map out the curriculum a little bit more elaborate. But in general, it will be just about a week. We have about 5 boot camps in Code Like a Girl. The first boot camp covers the basic theory of what I just said previously around just the introduction to coding, introduction to AI, introduction to big data, all these huge concepts that the kids wouldn't necessarily know what they mean. So at Bootcamp 1, you would expect 80% of that curriculum to be theory. As you move up the different boot camps, you'll get a little bit of practical. So when we get to Bootcamp 2, you will see perhaps a 60-40 somewhat split between Bootcamp 2 and Bootcamp 3. And so that means majority of it is still pretty much going to be theory, but as you get to Bootcamp 4, then we switch it around. You get a lot of the practical experience, which is really coding, and actually working on a piece of project. And then we end off with the hackathons, which are basically a showcase or a show and tell of what the kids would have been able to do to build throughout the boot camps, and that's more real and more test case like. And so by the time you get to Bootcamp 5, you've learned the theory behind these careers or these skills, and then you've had an exposure in terms of actually working on a real case or a product that you can showcase at a hackathon. And by the time you get to Bootcamp 5, if you've completed successfully all the boot camps, you then walk away with a certificate in what we would call software engineering. So in terms of how many girls we've trained since inception, the program started way back in 2018 with a small number of 20. But to date, we have trained over 6,000 girls just here in South Africa. That's Vodacom South Africa alone. And across the footprint, we've trained more than 15,000 girls. Our last intake, which is of the current fiscal, just went over 3,300 or so, just in the past couple of months. International STEM Day to Vodacom is really every day for us. And I say that because we are a technologically driven company. our ambition in terms of our strategies to go beyond mobile, and at the heart of that is technology. And so what we do in Code Like a Girl is very much directly linked to International STEM Day. The skills that we have to build for the future are all the skills that we talk about in STEM. And so we are getting ready to deliver on our ambition of beyond mobile. And that means that we have to continue to make the investment in building for these careers, and not only for Vodacom, but across industry as well as across Africa, as we know that we have the youngest population, and we know that we have to close the digital divide as far as those skills are concerned.